This year, a player's only rushed for over 150 plus yards in a single game 4 times, and 2 of those belong to Derrick Henry. That's right, he has the first and third most rushing yards for a single game in the 2024 season through the first 4 games, which begs the question of when does Derrick Henry put himself in conversations as one of the greatest running backs of all time? Here's where he lies among some of the best. He has the most rushing yards among active players with just under 10,000, which sits him at 32 all-time rush yards. Henry was drafted in 2016 with Ezekiel Elliott and has nearly 1,000 more rush yards than him in the same time period. But this season isn't over, and at this rate, he could find himself right below LaShawn McCoy in terms of career rushing yards. And just when we thought that Henry was quote-unquote slowing down in his NFL career, he joins the best running offense and is suddenly the #1 running back without a doubt once again. He has led the NFL in rushing yards twice before in 2020 and 2019, and if he continues leading the league this season and adds on just one more league-leading season, he'll become tied with players like Emmitt Smith, O.J. Simpson, and Barry Sanders with 4 seasons leading the NFL in rushing. However, Henry is 30 years old, and the oldest player to ever lead the league in rushing was Curtis Martin in 2004 at 31 years old, and an all-time great like Adrian Peterson last led the league in rushing when he was 30 years old. But working with Lamar Jackson, who is one of the best rushing quarterbacks of all time, Henry, who signed a 2-year deal, could be a major piece in the rushing threat for the next 2 years in Baltimore, which could potentially lead to him striking another deal with the Ravens in 2026. I mean, through 4 games, he is already averaging 120 rush yards per game, which at that rate would put him close to breaking the Ravens' single-season rush yard record set by Jamal Lewis in 2003. In his last game, he already recorded the 5th most rush yards in a single game in the Ravens' history, and in his 9th season, he already has more yards than all-time great Mark Ingram and will likely pass Marshawn Lynch this year, barring any injuries. And players like Adrian Peterson or Frank Gore played around 15 years in the NFL. So at just 14 years on his same average, Henry will be on pace to becoming the 2nd leading rusher in NFL history. I mean, Gore is the NFL's 3rd leading rusher, and Henry has more rush yards in his first 8 seasons than Frank Gore did. And 9 is the number of 180 plus rushing yard games that Derrick Henry has had in his career, which is tied for the 2nd most all time. So if he just records 2 more games of 180 yards or more, he'll have the most in NFL history. The thought that Derrick Henry can sustain at least his partial success for another 5 years is certainly questionable, but a guy with a signature stiff arm that seems unreal itself, it's possible he defines all that we've known before. But so far this season, he's been way above the competition as he has for most of his career. If he can continue to keep it up, how do you rank Derrick Henry's career so far?